Hi everyone and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new Warhammer 40,000 Chapter Approved 2017 edition. Okay, so this came out a couple of days ago now. I've just come home and found it waiting for me on the doorstep. Before today, well before the other day really, all you needed to play was the core rules out of the Warhammer 40k rulebook, about 8 pages, and either the index or the codex of your faction of choice. And that was all you needed. Now it seems Games Workshop have decided to update the rules. In my opinion, it's a little bit early. Probably should have waited till next year. But I think the thinking is they've had lots of feedback from the community, who've played lots of games, obviously, and they are looking at doing a rule update every year, I believe, every December. So this is going to be the first of many for as long as 8th edition lives. So, this book, it's softback, but it is the usual high standard, high quality you expect from Games Workshop. And what have we got inside? Well, in the contents, obviously there's the usual introduction, talking about the ways to play and the Warhammer 40,000 hobby. Then there are updates for open play, narrative play and matched play. Then there are faction rules for factions that don't have a codex yet. So that's like Deathwatch, Dukari, Harlequins, Orcs, Necrons, etc. And then in the appendix at the back, there's some additional rules for terrain, campaigns, and most interestingly, really, there is some updated points values. So let's have a quick look first at open play. Okay then, open play. The big news for open play is Apocalypse is back. So, if you don't know, Apocalypse is fielding massive armies on the battlefield. Literally, it's open play, so you can field everything you own. You've got knights, flyers, loads of tanks, loads of infantry, and it's all about the biggest battle you can. There's a few pages on how to organise your Apocalypse game, and then there are lots of new missions for Apocalypse to get your teeth stuck into. Then it looks at basically adding some story to them, umpired battles, multi-table games, good for games clubs and things like that. And then this isn't interesting. They're looking at converting models for open play games. Now, basically, this can't be used in match play, but they are looking at allowing for open play people at the minute to customise Land Raiders. So obviously, Space Marines over the years, there's been lots of variants. So in this, you can basically create your own Land Raider. And there is a blank data sheet at the back of the book, which will allow you to basically fill in all your own information, all your own weapons and abilities, etc. And there's a few examples to be seen there. So that is open play. Okay, so narrative play. Obviously this has also had a few updates. There's 6 new missions for Planet Strike to choose from, and also there is the deployments for Planet Strike. So lots of different, you've got all-round defense, central stronghold, etc, etc. Sacrificial outpost, that sounds a bit ominous. And some more rules for Planet Strike, including Planet Strike specific warlord traits, detachments and stratagems, and stronghold assault, like assaulting bunkers and things like that. So there's 6 new missions for Stronghold. There's a bit about campaigns, and then, interestingly, for those who didn't get the Imperial Index 2, I think it was, with the sort of Bastion and Aegis defense lines in it, maybe the Xenos players and things didn't pick it up, they're in this book as well, so you'll be able to field them in your battles if you haven't picked up the Imperial Index 2. Obviously the Dark Angels Fortress of Redemption isn't in there, as that's Dark Angels specific. So that is narrative play. Okay, so the majority of the book is made up of the new matched play rules and rule changes. I think the most important one for me would be this one here, targeting characters. They've updated the rules for targeting characters. So an enemy character with less than 10 wounds can only be targeted if it is both visible to the firer and it is the closest enemy model to the firer. This means that if another enemy model is closer, whether it is visible or not, then the enemy character cannot be targeted. That seems a bit strange to me. I don't know if anyone wants to help clarify that for me, but how can you not target a character if there's a unit you can't see that's closer to you? So if you can see the enemy character, but there's an enemy unit behind a wall that you've got no line of sight to, you can't target the character because of that other unit. That seems a bit odd to me, because on a battlefield you shoot what you can see. There we go. So I don't know whether that's going to need more clarification or whether I'm just misreading that, but that seems a bit odd to me. There's lots of new Eternal War missions and lots of new Maelstrom of War missions to get your teeth into. Now there's an interesting section on objective markers, but don't think they're releasing any new ones. It's talking about converting your own, giving you some ideas to convert your own object markers, which is a nice section because it sort of covers the main factions there. And then on to faction rules. So this is the section for the factions that don't have a codex. Sisters of Battle, Deathwatch, Dark Eldar are all in there. Necron's Tau, the Orcs are covered. Space Wolves as well, they're in there. So yeah, that should be a good little update for the players who are still waiting for their codex. Now then, on to the appendix. Okay, so right at the back of the book is the appendix, and in this you've got a look at different battlefield terrain, some new rules for different terrain, including the Adeptus Mechanicus scenery, so fighting battles on these big 3D tables. There's a couple of battle zones, including a very Psyker heavy one, Etheric Storm. Lots of rules for fighting battles in those battle zones. There's a quick look at ladder campaigns, but the most important thing for matched play players is the updated points values. This is for December 2017. I do believe next year around this time they'll be updated again. But there's some winners and there's some losers here. For example, just looking at the Space Marine lists, Librarian in Terminator armor, he's come down before he had his war gear 23 points, and his Force Axe has also come down about 6 points, I believe. So that's quite a good saving on your Terminator Librarian straight away. It's not all wins though. Things like the Assault Cannon, Assault Plasma Incinerator, they've gone up 1 or 2 points each. I've not really looked too much into the other factions, but just to give you an example, some things have come down, some things have gone up. And over the page, a couple of pages, interestingly, there's updated points values for Forge World stuff. Now most of this is your Lords of War, your Super Heavies, Titans, that kind of stuff, and big heavy tanks. Now I've been led to believe some of this has gone up a lot. I do believe some of the Titans, yeah, Reaver Battle Titan, he used to be 2,500 points, I think, base value. He's now 4,000. So you're going to have to think long and hard now about building your armies around things like that. I mean, 4,000 points, you're not going to be able to take him on, bring him along to most games if you've got a Reaver Titan anymore. And then right at the very back, there's a little bit on Battleforged armies and the blank Land Raider datasheet that I mentioned. So yeah, that's it. That's the new rules update. Like I said, I believe there's going to be one out every year. Now, like I said, I think it's a bit soon. 8th edition only came out this year. There's already the rulebook, your codex, and now there's a rules update. Now, I'm led to believe 8th edition's been very, very popular, and there's a lot of players come back to 8th edition who've left the hobby, and I think it's got a lot of new players in because they've stripped the rules right back and made it really quite simple to learn. Hard to master, but simple to learn. And I think a lot of the big thing that put a lot of players in 7th off, like new players in 7th, was the sheer volume of books you needed to buy just to be able to start playing, because if you come into the hobby late, you're playing catch up. You know, you need the rule book, you needed the codex, so you needed to buy 2 books if you wanted to play. Now you need 3 books. Next year you're going to need 4 books, and it just seems to me like it's going to spiral out of control again, unless every year they condense that in all this stuff into the 2018 edition as well, and then next year they condense the 2 books plus the new rules into the 2019 edition. So just to keep it so new players aren't going to get lost, because if you've got to start buying 4 or 5 books in 3 or 4 years time just to start playing the base game, it's going to get quite complicated again. I know for me, for one, I'm going to be taking the bits out of here and probably post-it noting them into there, so I've only ever got to take along the 2 books. But it's interesting that they're listening to the community feedback. They're taking on board what people have said, and they're looking to keep the game kind of developing and fixing all the broken rules that seem to come up. I just hope that it doesn't end up in a few years' time that you need 6 books to play the game, because 7th edition did get a bit silly, and it'll put a lot of people off. So, but hey, I'm sure Games Workshop know what they're doing. They've been doing it for 30 odd years. So thanks for watching this video. It was only a quick look, not an in-depth look. Hope you enjoyed it, and hopefully we'll see you again in the next video. Thanks a lot. Goodbye.